morning to Kenyan citizens. Welcome, and this is the Current Affairs segment, your trusted source for the latest news, insightful discussions, and impactful stories shaping our nation and beyond. I'm Angela Kabete, and as you can see, to Kimotho, what we'll do, we'll dive into the latest headlines and uncover the truth behind the news of what has been happening, that is, in our country and beyond. So stay tuned as we break it down right here, right now. Bwana Kimotho, hujambo?
Sijambo.
Uhali gani?
Niko salama, nashukuru.
Uko salama?
Yes.
Pia mimi niko salama,
yes.
Nashukuru.
Yeah.
Anawasalimia watazamaji.
Nataka kuwasalimia na kuwashukuru kwa vile wamekuwa pamoja na sisi. Karibu sana, wacha tuangalie ni yapi ambayo tutayasoma.
Yaliyomo,
yes.
Ama yanayojiri. Jana ulienda church?
Kabisa.
Ulibarikiwa?
Nilibarikiwa, nilikuwa mzuri sana.
Wow, that's
yes,
great.
Tuliambia mtu kile kiko ndani yake, ikiwa mtu akilinde, akijue, sababu hicho ndicho Mungu amekuwekea.
Yeah, you guard what God has given you.
Yes.
And now let's dive into, let's not talk about that is the verse of the day before we head to other things, as it is always our norm. And read the verse of today comes from that is Matthew 7:7, and it says, "Ask and it will be given to you. Seek and you'll find. Knock and it will be opened to you." Wow. Mr. Kimotho, how many times do you forget this verse? You know, we as human beings, you know. Mashinda zimekuja, wewe tu unafikiria nitatoa wapi pesa, nitaenda wapi. You forget the Bible says that ask and it will be given to you.
Yes.
You know, you just ask.
Yes.
You know, yeah.
And unajua sasa inakuwa kama ile tunaweza sema already imetupatia guidance.
Yeah.
And as long as you know where you are asking, ama nani unauliza.
Ni nani unauliza? Yeah.
Because sometimes unashikwa na shida, the first person unaenda kwa phone book unaangalia nani nitapigia, nini nitakimbilia wapi, nitafanya nini.
Hustler fund.
Na zile funds zingine zote ziko pale.
Yeah.
But before you do that, is always to seek, that is to ask God to give you direction on who to seek and everything. Na wakati unafanya hapo, unafanya yote, utakuwa discouraged.
Yeah, you won't be discouraged. Yes. You know, God is not like a man atakusaidia leo kisho aseme I'm tired. That is not God. We serve a faithful God, we serve a caring God, we serve a loving God. And that's why the Bible says that ask and it will be given unto you. I don't know what is that one thing that you'll be desiring. Why don't you make that bold step of going and asking the Lord? And then inasema and you knock and it will be opened unto you. You know, just go and knock that door. You know, to our God through prayers. And
it is a step.
Yeah, that is a step. And I believe God is very faithful. And iyo mombe nyumekuwa ukiomba hapo, just submit unto the Lord.
Yes.
And that is the verse of the day. Now we dive kwa yaliyomo yanayojiri. Because a lot has been happening with Kimotho, you know, your period, Saturday, Sunday, today's on a Monday. I know we have a lot here. I have my Daily Nation with me, Mr. Kimotho.
I have the Standard newspaper.
And on my Daily Nation, the highlights I can see here, will be diving into the matters to do with education. Our grade 9 learners begin selecting their career paths. You know, that is something that we had mentioned last week. And then, still, you can see here, the matters to do with politics and governance. And when it comes to the governance, kuna leadership of our president, and the saying scorecard half-term marks presents an opportunity to assess president's performance ahead of 2027 polls. So we'll be checking his performance mpaka sai, because I can see they have highlighted Ruto hits 1,000 days. Nimefika 1,000 seconds. Mbona zinakaa mingi? Yes, zinakaa mingi.
1,000, okay.
I thought zimepita. Oh my goodness. Okay. And then still kuna mambo ya hospitali, you know, there's an investigation when it comes to the health sector. More hospitals targeted in organs probe. The last time we checked ilikuwa Medihill, but they're saying that more hospitals they are targeted in organs probe. And then kuna mambo ya legal and crime, kuna mambo ya police. They're saying they are crying for help. Police officers lament unpaid allowances. This was said, and they're saying so police officers hired in Kenya National Examination Council last year to secure examinations have not been paid for the last 6 months. This shocking, Mr. Kimotho. I don't know shocking. Education. Sijui ni nini education this time.
Na niyo ni kwanza ni last year.
Last year, na basi this year na kulikuwa na shida ya pesa ya mitihani.
Unajua saizi pesa ya mtihani.
Oh goodness.
Iko bado in suspend, bado hajajulikana.
Sijui tuambie aje. What do you have there? What will we be checking today?
Naona kuna issue of security issues. Naona kuna part of education, part of other social issues, and part of politics. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now let's dive into the Daily Nation, the top story that is things to do with politics and governance.
Okay.
And I can see here Amendika that is mwenye ako hapa, that is our president. Na amevaa suti ni Kimotho.
So ile kaunga.
Amevaa suti, amevaa suti. And they say scorecard half-term marks presents an opportunity to assess president's performance ahead of 2027 polls. And they say Ruto hits 1,000 days. And now let's check kuna the economy and the health sector. Those are the two areas that we find assessment. And when it comes to the economy, Mr. Kimotho, you can see here 4.7% GDP growth. Wamengalia the GDP, to those who don't know, that is the gross domestic product. They're saying Kenya's GDP grew by, that is 4.8 in 2022 and dropped to 4.7 in 2024. Okay, that is a drop. Year 2024 ilikuwa during his leadership. And then when it comes to inflation, Omeka 3.8. They say inflation was 7.6% in 2022. Ilikuwa juu sana. It means that things were the purchasing power ya mwananchi ilikuwa chini because the things were very expensive. So inflation was 7.6 in 2022, 7.7% in 2023, and as of May 2025, inflation decreased by 3.8%. So can you say this is a good thing because it feels like there is stability, you know? Inflation iko chini, but is the purchasing power ya wananchi that high?
Unajua na challenge is as according now to the analysis that is there, bado kuna ile impact bado iko pale. Because bado kuna issue to do with lack of employment iko pale. Bado kuna high taxes on some of the products. Bado kuna low circulation of money. So bado kuna hiyo impact. Hata kama kuna hiyo analysis ambao wanaongelea mambo ya inflation here and there, but kuna another gap.
You know, wanasema inflation imeenda chini Mr. but then you know if inflation goes down to expect interest of loans ipungue. Has that happened?
It happened. You bado tunaona malone bado ziko pale, tunaona banks bado wameshindwa ku reduce now their rates. So it means that bado kuna gap. They still now to bring waitoe kwa papers. Sasa ikuwe now na impact now to the money.
Apart from the analysis.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now the shilling exchange rate. The shilling exchange rate was that is 120.37, and in June 5, 2025 ilikuwa 129.22. And now that is matters to do with the economy. And now to the health sector. The universal health coverage, 8,571 UHC workers was hired by the Ministry of Health in 2020, and they earn a salary of 50,000 monthly. That is in 2020. Sasa sijui kama sasa bado whether they are adding the same. And then they say 22 million number of Kenyans who had registered for SHA by May, that is May 13th, 2025. Let me repeat, 22 million number of workers who had registered for SHA by May 13, 2025. And then there is 1.2 million who have had their bills paid, with claims amounting 45 million. That is when it comes to the health sector.
Okay.
So number ya watu wenye wameregister ni wengi. But when it comes to the payment, Mr. Kimotho, mambo ni different.
Kabisa.
Especially to the health sector.
Yes.
What can you say about this?
Na kumbuke kwanza mambo ya health sector bado imekumbwa na mambo mengi sana. Because kumbuke kuna nurses bado wana cry kuna doctors wana cry, hospitals bado ziko na issues, mambo ya medicine na other operations ambazo tunaona pale. So bado kuna ile mambo ambayo wanafaa. And then pia at the same time tunangoja tuone budget kama bado ile pesa ambayo walikuwa wameflash kama wamerudisha ama waongezea zaidi. Yes.
Well, when it comes to the education, because I can see here, they're saying education funding for primary and secondary education since 2022. And so in 2021 and 2022, the primary walikuwa wamepatiwa that is 18.2 billion. That is what they're saying. And then when it comes to the secondary education, that is in 2021, 2022, walikuwa wamepatiwa 71.9 billion. And then when it comes to 2022, 2023, 21.12 billion was used in the primary education. And then in the secondary sector, ilitumika that is 92.79 billion. And now that is in 2023, 2024, Mr. Kimotho, 19.01 billion was used in the primary education. And then it comes to the secondary education, ilitumika 67.88 billion. Yeah, that is when it comes to matters with education. Alafu that is unajua say debt yetu iko haya niliacha iko 11 trillion sasa iko 11.35. Kwa nini nene kipanda walikuwa wanasema pesa zenye tafuta za kulipa debt Mr. Kimotho?
Lazima iko inapanda tu pole pole. Jua tulipi na bado tunachukua kidogo.
Tunachukua kidogo. Unajua tunaenda Japan sasa.
Unajua kuna interest.
Oh, the interest. So unajua ilikuwa 11 trillion sasa ilikuwa 11 trillion na shangai 35 imetoka wapi? So ni hiyo interest.
Na time yenye tulichukua. Kama kuna time imeisha, unajua kuna ka interest kanaenda kwa. Yes.
Like you said, later the government was like that they will focus that is on internal, kuchukua debt internally.
So how do you now cope up with internal? Wakati hata circulation, taxes, and then pia unakuta more industry wanaenda kwa neighboring countries. So how do you now deal with internal? Because internal lazima kuwe kuna some industry ambayo maybe wanaweza kusustain a bit of economy into some way kudina internal lending.
And they're saying that 11.35 trillion, that is the public debt. Kenya total public debt was 8.7 trillion in 2022. And as of May 2025, it has grown to 11.35 trillion. So what is the impact of this debt in Tunamba? Can we really see the impact of this debt despite it being high?
Unajua the issue now ambayo tunaongelea hapa sasa ni mambo yote itoke kwa makaratasi.
It's okay.
Yes, sasa ingie ku reality sasa ya watu. Because hata tukisema debt imekuwa hivi imelipwa ni impact gani ambayo imeleta kwa wananchi, especially hapo mambo ya education. Juzi tuliangalia na list of the late president, that is Kibaki, kwa sababu yeye ndiye alifanya introduction of the new education system. Na especially after the election ya 2020, that is 2022, immediately 2 or 3 alianza sasa kuimplement hiyo free education ambayo ilikuwa pale. So ukiangalia hayo, then sasa hizi tulikuwa tunaangalia, unaona kwanza pesa ya mtihani bado iko haijulikani kama bado iko kama na mambo yale mengine.
Education inaisha
ndio unajua wanaweza kuwa hawajasema inaisha, lakini pia kuna actions ambazo zinafanya ikuisha. Because kama capitation ina delay kwa mashule, so inamaanisha wazazi ndio
watarudi kwa
mambo ya mtihani, nayo ndio hiyo mambo ya yale mambo mengine ambayo yako pale. Contractors nao sasa hata wakiitiwa kazi kwa mashule hawaendi, hawa supply, sababu unaona kuna ile delay ambayo iko pale. So even if kuna hiyo the scorecard ambayo iko pale, sasa hizi watu wengi sasa wanataka kuona ni impact gani ambayo sasa maybe itaweza sasa ku reflect kwa wao kule chini.
Okay. And they say President Ruto rode to power on lofty promises, projecting himself as the champion of the majority poor. But an assessment of his midterm record exposes missed target in the nation crisis, and demonstrated by rising public discontent that boiled over last year during the bloody nationwide anti-tax riot. I love so they've highlight what he has achieved. That is in page 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You're saying wow.
Venye leo imepewa pages mingi sana.
Yeah, I know. 1000 days ni mingi Mr. Kimotho.
So hiyo by the way lakini unajua sasa tumezoea na months. Sasa wenye umeweka in days inakaa
ni mingi sana. And this is status of the economy during the Madaraka Day celebrations. President says economic growth had been above global a global average and inflation had dropped significantly, but some say this has not been felt by the common mwananchi. Yeah, I don't know, you as a Kenyan citizen out there, have you felt the impact ya inflation kwenda chini? And now wame highlight some other things to do with the affordable housing project. And they're saying the president said that will increase the supply of the new housing to 250,000 per annum, and the percentage of affordable housing supply from 2% to 50% we will achieve by structuring affordable long-term housing finance scheme, including National Housing Fund and cooperative social housing schemes that will guarantee offtake of the houses developers. Yeah, that is kwanza ilikuwa manifesto ya Kenya Kwanza, and you know pia the DCP alikuwa pale
alikuwa pale.
Yeah, alikuwa na campaign kitu sana solely. But now he's criticizing it. I don't know why. And then Mr. Kimotho still they have highlighted that is Hustler Fund. Ilikuwa part ya their manifesto, and wali implement.
Yeah, Hustler Fund watu wamechukua. Watu wamechukua.
Kuna mtu hajatumia Hustler Fund.
Yes.
You know, but I've not used it, Mr. Kimotho. I'll try.
Jaribu iko pale, enda at least ukwenda ni hiyo manifesto ambayo wameongelea hapo.
It is a Hustler Fund in its manifesto. Kenya Kwanza said we will commit 50 billion a year to provide the SMEs with 100% access to affordable finance through SACCOs, venture capital, equity funds, and long-term debt for startups and growth-oriented SMEs. And Hustler Fund was launched by the president in November 30th, 2022 and made available through mobile money platforms. But the kitty has continued to suffer major funding cuts and non-repayment by borrowers. And they're saying the financial year ending June 2023, 12 billion was allocated to the fund, and in the subsequent year, only 800 million was allocated. Okay. 12 billion ndio ilikuwa allocated. So na wanasema only 800 million ndio ilikuwa allocated. Hiyo ingine ilienda wapi, Mr. Kimotho? Wanafaa tuambie. Ama yeah, because I've had people complaining, Mr. Kimotho, that squeezy Hustler Fund inakupea kidogo.
Unajua okay, hiyo kupewa kidogo inalingana na limit na wewe, kwa sababu
limit ya mtu.
At the same kama ulichukua na ukachelewa kulipa, lazima limit itapungua kidogo. So hiyo si mambo na government, hiyo sasa ni personal, you know. Yeah,
you as an individual.
Yes, kwa sababu ile kuna ile record yako iko pale, sababu sasa ni wewe na system pale. Yeah.
But I'm wondering, Mr. Kimotho, kama 12 billion ilikuwa allocated, but they're saying only 800 million ilitumika, hiyo ingine ilienda wapi? Watuambie. And then it comes to the agriculture, they're saying Kenya Kwanza promised to transform 2 million poor farmers from food deficit or surplus producers through inputs, finance, and intensive agricultural extension support. And they say the target was a minimum productivity target of that is 50,000 per acre. And they say according to Mr. Owano, the government has implemented the fertilizer subsidy programming and has 53.6 million farmers currently registered. And when it comes to the healthcare, they're saying upon assuming power, President Ruto administration embarked on implementation of mandatory, that is SHA, Social Health Insurance Fund, under the under the Social Health Authority. But the transition from the NHIF has been characterized by major implementation hiccups, despite paying monthly premiums, which has significantly increased a majority of informal employment, and patients have been unable to access timely treatment due to systems failure. Yeah, when it comes to the health sector, things to do, you know, transitioning from the SHA to from the NHIF to SHA. And then still wameangazia mambo education. They say education in its manifesto, Kenya Kwanza committed to bridge the teachers shortage gap of that is 116,000 in the 2 financial years and review the exam-based system of academic progression by implementing alternatives entry criteria. Yeah, and they say further it committed in improving the capacity of the day secondary schools of guaranteeing to access quality education. Is that how happening in the education sector?
Yeah, that's why nakwambia kuna a lot ambayo umesoma pale but ile mambo ambayo iko kwa ground ndio tofauti.
Mambo kwa ground tofauti. Yes, but they say this is what they have achieved, Mr. Kimotho.
Okay, you can say what you have achieved, but ni impact gani ambayo imeleta pale
kwa wananchi sasa?
Yes, yeah, because watu wengi sana, kile ambacho wanaangalia, kile wanaona na kile ambao wana experience, hiyo ndio wako, that is what it is in their record. Yes. And
now here kwa the economy and cost of living, the president promised to prioritize the needs of low income earners and to bring the cost of living down, but in his first budget, which took effect on July 1st, 2023, made life more expensive while hitting the businesses with high taxes. Can Kenyans, agree with this? I don't know if that's true. And they're saying the new administration increased the VAT on petroleum products from 8% to 16%. They doubled. And the high cost of petroleum drastically increased the cost of living, including the basic commodities like maize flour and bread. And now that is ICT, mambo ya ICT, and they're saying the Kenya Kwanza administration committed to digitizing the automatic 80% the government services with the objective of improving efficiency, reducing corruption, and enhancing accessibility through the integration of the e-citizen and mobile platforms. E-citizen imesaidia kupunguza corruption kweli, Mr. Kimotho?
Okay, imesaidia because initially ilikuwa for example hata kwa ile department ya birth ulikuwa unaendaga before file yako itolewe pale lazima unapeana ka kitu. So but wakati sasa systems ziliweza kuwa improved, umekuta kuna some of these minimal corruption huko zimekwisha. Na pia kuna ile better and efficient services ambazo ziko pale. So unaenda pale unaambiwa mambo yako inaangalia kwa system, so it becomes very easy. Na pia the e-citizen pia imeweza kusaidia the government na pia kuweza kumanage na collection of some of the services ambazo wanaoffer ambazo pia zinalipiwa pale.
Okay, yes. And now the last one, that is fighting against corruption. And they say President Ruto committed to fight graft during his campaigns. And they actually want me highlight what the president said. If I get the opportunity in ile time ya campaign, Mr. Kimotho, if I get the opportunity to run the government, there'll be no corruption because there'll be no money to steal, as every coin will be used. There'll be no coin loitering anywhere for anybody to steal. That is what the president said during the time of campaign. But prior to his reign, several scandals rocked in his government, including that is the Kenya Medical Supplies Authority and the mosquito net tender. And then a report by the Public Service Commission covering the financial year of his reign offered a glimpse into the task facing the president in his administration. They lost that is 650 million through the corrupt deals during his period. And now, as I wind up on that story, they say that year some 109 graft cases were reported by the EACC, and only 34 civil servants ndio walikuwa charged. That is what the president has done during his 1000 days leadership.
Hiyo ndio scorecard ambayo iko pale.
Yeah, ndio scorecard.
But unajua during campaign kuna vitu mingi sana ambazo watu bado wanangojea. Bado watu wanangojea gas ile 300.
Oh, okay. Bado kuna gas Kimotho.
Nilikuwa nangojea nione hapo kwa department hiyo ya petroleum and energy. Maybe kutakuwa na hiyo sijasikia mambo ya stima, haijakuwa pale, mambo ya infrastructure bado sijasikia pale. So kuna a lot ambayo, but at the same time pia kuna mambo ya issue of security bado haijaangaziwa pale na wangeweza kuiguzia pale. na at the same time pia kuna ile pia mambo ya diapers ambayo pia walikuwa wamesema watashughulikia pale.
I don't know, we should ask citizens kama wamepata. Mr. Kimotho probably kuna wenye wamepata.
Unajua ingekuwa pale because ni scorecard yao maybe ya 1000 days ambao wamekuwa pale. So they still need to do a lot because na pia hii pia ina sharia kwamba we should take note of everything that wakati wa campaign. Hiyo ndio tunafaa tuangalie sana kwa sababu hiyo ndio kitu ambayo ina capture the mind of so many people. Mtu anasema kama huyu anasema mambo haya, wacha basi tuende tufanye nini, tuende kumchagua. So kuna haya ambao wameachieve but still kuna mambo mengi bado wako na jana tuliona president akisema ya kwamba bado wako na time. So alisema
usually say we give the time. I still say that
at least alisikia your point. Alisikia your point. Alisema bado wako na time na bado watapanga tu mambo kabla hiyo siku ifike.
So we give them time.
So ni hao wako pale. So bado tunawapatia time tuone kama kama yale mambo ambayo walisema watayatimiza.
Because Wakenya wanangoja.
The
young people are waiting for the jobs.
Yes.
Yeah. And away from the things to do with the governance, what do you have there?
So according out kwa hiyo mambo mengi ambayo pia nimesoma, let me also try to attach some of the things naona hapa kwa gazeti la Standard page 9 that is a business leaders want access on inputs in paint, that is a local production. There are some of the key concerns ambazo ziko hapa kama that is a high taxes on raw materials ambayo imekuwa ikileta competitive kwa some of the industries. Pia tuko na local industries losing out to cheaper imports. That is these are some of the key concerns. We also have the key that is Kenya losing edge to countries like Egypt, Tanzania and Uganda. So you can see kulingana na pia ile scorecard ambayo umesoma pale na especially mambo ambayo alikuwa anaongea inflation pia hii ina contradict because ukiangalia na hii information ambayo imetolewa na Investment, Trade and Industry Cabinet Secretary ambayo ni Liki Nyanjui, na hii ni expert ambao waliweza kuianalyze na kuweza kuangalia in context ya finance bill that is 2025. Kuna the targeted sector that is those are that ambazo zimekuwa affected. Kuna cement and steel production and pia tuko na milk and textile industries. Pia the same time tuko na small medium that is manufacturers. So at the same time kuna the proposals ambazo zimeshatolewa na the business that is traders. One is that remove taxes on raw materials. Because unajua sa raw materials ndizi ambazo tuko nazo, so unakuta ya kwamba kuna ile taxes ambazo zinaongezewa pale. Because unakuta sasa for example kama ni that is wakulima, that is ng'ombe, kuna ile materials ambazo ziko locally hapa produce kama ni that is wale pia wa kuku na mambo yale mengine. So unakuta zile materials ambazo zinakuwa produce hapa zinawekewa high taxes. Because wakati hata kama kuna organization ya wakulima wamejikusanya pamoja wakuwa kiproduce chakula, lazima waende kwa KEBS, waende wapi. So ukikuta ile pesa ambayo wanaitishwa pale inabidi unaachana nayo. But zile products ambazo zinaingia hapa zinakuwa ndizo maybe ziko low taxes. So unaona pia inakuwa na issues. Pia tuko na that is levy taxes only on finished goods. Kuna offer the same kumbuka hii ni proposal sasa now by the business leaders ambao wanajaribu sasa kuleta ni nini ambayo inaweza fanywa in concerns with kile kitu ambacho kinafanya some industries wende to neighboring countries. Pia kuna prioritize local content that is in supermarkets. So that is ukiangalia hapa kulingana na vile ambao wanasema these offers the same incentive given to the foreign investors. So ukiangalia hapa kulingana na expert option ambao wanapeana hapa ni kwamba tukiutilize whatever we have inaweza tusaidia sana na pia inaweza create a lot of that is employment. Pia kuna government plan. Their plan is to establish an export import that is a bank to boost Kenyans that is expand the processing zones ambao wamepanga, na pia kuna the trade deals ambayo iko AGOA AU, na pia hii ni miungano ambayo ni other African nation ambayo tuko nayo hapa. So the government plan is just now to boost on those exports na pia on those processing zones ili that is the competition ama that is the arrangement between one nation to another iwe iko sawa, na pia tunaona hapa pia kuna competitive edge that is ambao wame lose. Kuna kama Egypt that is a cheaper manufacturing and duty free export pia via COMESA. Kuna Tanzania and Uganda operational that is a bank attracting investment. So ukiangalia hapa kuna hii analysis ambayo pia imeweza kuangaziwa na the expert wa upande huu, na unaona sasa hii iko in context na mambo ambayo tunaongelea inflation, because that's why tumesema ya kwamba ni vizuri pia waweze kuangalia ni nini ambayo ina affect kwa ground, because ukiangalia nao kulingana na hii report some of the companies wameenda that is Egypt, Tanzania, Uganda. There are also some of the products ambazo zinatoka kama Egypt ambao zinakuwa due now to cheaper manufacturing and duty free export. So ukiangalia unaona pia tuna empower wengine, tunakosa ku empower sisi wenyewe ambao tuko nao hapa, na inakuwa ni challenge because kuna a lot of innovations. Tumekuwa tukiona kuna innovators ambao wamekuwa international. Unaona hata kuna wakati kuna exhibition ambazo ziko pale, unaona pia kuna watoto wanatengeneza that is some of the machines ziko pale. Kuna pia wenzetu pia kuna hata mwingine na huku I think in like pia Manyandaro alikuwa ametengeneza ndege. So unaona kuna innovation kama hizo ambazo hatuwezi kuzitumia vizuri. So it is high time that kulingana na ile advice naona hapa na plans ya that is ya government ya kuweza nao kuangalia the trade deals ambazo tuko nazo in one nation to another, ili pia tusiweze kusikia that is that is wale investors ambao wanakuja hapa, because ukiangalia our nation ilikuwa investors, kampuni mingi sana zilikuwa hapa na ilikuwa a center ama hub even to the East African, but tumeona hiyo sasa imeanza kuenda kunao to our neighboring nation. So it is high time pia vile kulingana na the advice na the concerns ambazo naona zimeraised hapa, the issues now to do with the manufacturing and also now to do with na the taxes ni kitu ambayo inafaa iangalie. Na pia sasa hii wakiimplement tutaona hiyo effect kwa upande wa inflation ambao walikuwa wanasema.
Yeah, so that tuko na stability ya economy.
Exactly.
Because last month walikuwa wanasema the sector yenye grow sana ni tourism peke yake.
Yeah.
And they were saying that they want to improve reduce that is imports the rice.
Yeah.
So and sugar, so that they can empower our own people. So I think they should do to all sectors.
Na unajua issue to do with tourism one factor ambao huwa ina affect to do with security.
Yes, security.
So wakati tumekuwa tukiona kuna reason of insecurities on here and there in some of the towns, tunaona ina raise concerns.
Yeah.
So it's something that we need now to tunaweza kuiangalia sana na ndio iweze kutuletea that is small gains to our nation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, Mr. Kimotho, let's dive into matters to do with religion. I can see on page 5 of the Daily Nation, they're saying that rejected. Some of the church leaders have refused to accept donations made by the president, and they're asking. Actually, it's a question. Broken covenant. That is a question. Can the church forgive and love the president again? That is the question in your anauliza. And they're saying that church leaders have criticized the President Ruto's governance over police brutality and state of the economy. And they say when the President Ruto took office 1,000 days ago, he had a solid alliance with Kenya's church leadership, but not long after the union started fraying. That is what they're saying. And they say that in June 2024, the state heavy-handed response to the anti-tax protesters led by the youth exposed an even bigger crack in the once solid relationship between the church and the president administration. And I think that's why they ask, will the church forgive and love the president? And now, still on the same, Mr. Kimotho, in addition to that, they're saying that when he took power over the people in churches, they were expecting that lives would turn around. They were very expectant to him to turn around the economic fortunes. Instead, the situations have been compounding, making life a lot harder. That is what they're saying. And Abado wanasema that he went on, wanasema we have seen churches criticize, discredit and embarrass him in terms of donations, and this is not going on well. So I think he has lost quite significant chunk of the voting bloc in the church when the religious leaders started speaking against him. We're talking about the president, and they're saying then there's something to be done.
Unajisa pia upande wa hiyo churches kumekuwa na wale ambao wamekuwa na different opinions especially now that statement tumekuwa tukiona that is the Catholic ndio wamekuwa na hiyo msimamo kabisa and some of the other churches, na kuna wengine pia hawana any other issue na hawana shida yote, but at the same time we should ask ourselves which direction I will give now to our people, because even if now they are complaining, even if now kuna haya mambo, at the same time people need direction, because either pesa muikatae ama muitikie, but there seem bado kuna other factors ambayo ni ya maana sana. Kuna other issues. I would wish kama maybe now wangekuwa wanapeana civic education to their people, ili waweze kuelewa mambo ya election, waweze kuelewa how to be there for our nation in case of any eventualities, mambo ya finance bill na mambo yale mengine. So the issue now of them refusing the amount, accepting the amount, the main issue should now how to to give direction to the people, because unajua at the same time even if umekataa donation ya president bado ataipeleka pale pengine. So bado kuna hiyo mambo ambayo iko pale, and it is still an issue ambayo tunaangalia pale. To some of na ukumbuke watu wengi wakupia kuna different opinions, na pia every religion ama kila church iko na taratibu zake. So kuna wale ambao watakataa, kuna wale waitikia, na hakuna shida yote ambayo iko pale. Yes.
And away from that, matters to do with religion, we have that is 5 minutes, Mr. Kimotho. Let's dive into the education sector. You can see here, cry for help, that is on page 1 of the Daily Nation. Police officers lament over unpaid allowances. Some police officers hired in the Kenya National Examination Council last year to secure examinations have not been paid in the last 6 months, and that story is in page 7.
Okay.
Ndio nilishafanya Mr. Kimotho. Ikaisha.
Watu walipo pesa walishafanya kazi yao.
Sai hakukuwa na pesa zilikuwa allocated kwa the exams za the JSCC Mr. Kimotho.
Watu walipo pesa yao.
Hawa tutawaambia nini? Because they say that despite of unpaid allowances for the police who secured exams, and they say some police officers hired by the Kenya National Examination Councils (NEC) to help in the administering of the test last year have not been paid 6 months later. Officers who spoke in the nation, who spoke to the nation in confidence, wondered why it was taking long for NEC to pay them for their services during last year Kenya Certificate Secondary Education exams. However, it has emerged that some of the police officers had been paid. Some of them had been paid. Kwa hivyo kuna wenye wamelipa, kuna wenye hajalipa Mr. Kimotho. And they say the exact number of the officers deployed to the 10 deployed to that is 10,754 examination centers was immediately available. Those are the numbers of officers who are deployed. And the same security personnel are involved in the distribution and collection of exam materials. They were police officers and they escorted officials. So watu walipo pesa zao Mr. Kimotho?
Watu walipo pesa yao kwa sababu walifanyia kazi.
Walifanyia kazi walipo. I don't know why they're not being paid.
Yes.
And they can see here they're saying that however, some of the officers said NEC paid them in March. One of them who has since been transferred from Nairobi was surprised that some of her colleagues had not been paid. Huyu mwenye alilipwa anashangaa watu wana complain nini Mr. Kimotho. Anauliza, what do you mean? I received my pay in March and was even happy because it came 11 days after we received dividends from the police circle. This is sad Mr. Kimotho. And they wanasema we have received challenges of disbursement from the National Treasury, and as soon we receive it we'll pay them. That statement came from Dr. Njegere. Oh my goodness, that is Njegere. Yeah.
So kuna wale ambao, so inamaanisha maybe kulingana na hiyo statement kuna wenye wamepata, kuna wengine hawajapata. So they should do something kwa wale bado hawajapata. Yes.
But unajua this statement tells a lot. They say from that is Dr. Njegere anasema that we have challenges of disbursement from the National Treasury. Kwani the National Treasury walipeana pesa nusu alafu wako peana nyingine pesa Kimotho?
Hao ndio wanafaa, kwa sababu unajua sasa ni kama tu venye tumekuwa tukiona upande wa education wanasema wame release na haijafika.
So issue si ku release, issue ni kufika pesa Kimotho.
Yes, kufika ndio haijafika.
Okay.
Yes.
We have 1 minute to have something as we wind up.
So there are so many other stories kwa gazeti la Standard. Na desperate patient turned to the web for life saving treatment sababu ya disappointment ya some of the health issues kwa our system. Na wengi wameanza kuenda kwa mtandao ku look for solution kwa sababu wamekosa pesa ya medication. Landmark petition released that Kenya job seekers tricked into slavery trapped overseas. Bado kuna ile issue that is wale ambao wanatafuta kazi kule majuu.
Kazi za majuu.
Bado kumekuwa na some of the issues. Na pia premature campaigns. Ruto now finds himself in Uhuru's position.
Okay.
Yes.
Muda umeyoyo mtuambia wananchi nini?
So ni kuwashukuru kwa vile wamekuwa pamoja na sisi na wakuwe na siku njema yenye baraka na pia wajiandae kwenye sonship. Tumewakaribisha sana.
Yeah.
Yes.
And the sonship, it will be happening this June. That is from the 23rd to the 27th this June at Mizpah Prayer Center. This is a gathering that is seeking to restore the hearts of the sons and the fathers together. So purpose to attend. For more information, please talk to us on 07277 66553. Thank you so much for tuning in for this amazing segment that is the current affairs. We're always here to make sure that you stay updated of what is happening that is in our country and beyond. I'm Angela Kabete. We are going for a short break, then we'll be right back with Money Monday. Stay tuned.